Hi, everybody. It's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with the guys from Zephr. How you doing, guys?
Good. How you?
Good.
Been good.
Awesome. I heard about you guys through Chuck Coffee at Snappy Little Numbers. He sent me a record, and then I went and listened to it, and it's really good. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I listened to it on the way home from work last night, and I listened to it again today.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a lot. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's good. He tends to pick out really good bands, and so I was really excited to talk to you about some of the things that I may have noticed in it. I don't want to say too much like early 90s hot water music or something like that. But I tend to like with the gravelly voice and the real ambient type guitars. I really liked it. Who would you say kind of influenced your sound?
Eamon, do you want to go first?
I mean, definitely early hot water music. I think when we were starting this band, we kind of were like, let's make a band because we all like Jawbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Jawbreaker is the one that I would say we all kind of have a common influence, I guess.
Yeah, I would definitely also piggyback off of that and say hot water music was definitely like a big influence on me as like a young guitarist, kind of figuring out my guitar style. So that I think they definitely still influence my playing. And as Eamon said, he approached me after a show and was like, "Do you want to start a pop punk band with me called Zephr?" And I was like, "Yeah." And can it sound like He's like, "Can it sound like Jawbreaker?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Can it sound like Superchunk?" He's like, "Yeah." So Superchunk is also an influence on me for sure.
It's funny you guys mentioned that because I was just talking to a few bands this week. Hot water music comes up a lot. Jawbreaker comes up an awfully lot, and Superchunk came up too. So it seems like a common thread that people are mostly are longtime fans, but this seems to be something that's coming around and influencing modern music, I would say.
I think that's great. I love Superchunk.
Cool. So how long you guys been together, and um where are you located?
How long have we been a band?
I think we're coming up on 2 years, roughly, of playing together. Um, yeah, I think 2 years. And we are located in Denver, Colorado.
Cool. How did you guys get hooked up with Chuck Coffee?
Just I think through the Denver music scene. Tyler's other band is on his label. And just we've all played shows with him at one point through one of his bands, and yeah, I don't know exactly how we ended up with him, like, being on his label, but
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we did. We recorded 3 songs. We kind of demoed 3 songs and ended up talking to Chuck, and he loved them a lot. I think he liked the idea of our band, but after hearing those, like, he was super on board and wanted to release the whole thing. So he just wanted to release a full length with us, and he's been super amazing ever since. And he's like, these guys will say he's pretty much the fourth Zephr. So
Oh, awesome. So what's going on right now with the last release you had was last year? Are you working on anything right now, or you pretty much pushing this record?
We recorded a couple of songs that are going to be on a split with the band Dog Breath. And we recorded those with Chuck at Snappy Little Numbers headquarters. And we're in the mixing process right now.
Awesome. Tell me about that studio or the recording space that you work at Snappy Little Numbers. This is my first time hearing about that.
So it's basically, it's like Chuck's basement turned into a studio, and also like he has a great collection of Star Trek memorabilia and all kinds of like great sports stuff too. But yeah, he just has this really awesome studio in his basement, and Chuck is a good friend, so recording with him feels really natural, and it's a lot of fun.
Do you guys record live or how have you been recording?
Tyler, you want to take this one? 'Cause I feel like you lay down the meat, you know,
Well,
you lay down the backbone, you know.
Yes. So for the full length, we did all live instruments and then overdubbed with all kinds of layers. Jim is just like crazy with the guitar layers, so that's always a fun process. But the bass is like seems to be live. And then with these new songs, it was kind of the same thing. But if something wasn't right, we just kind of overdubbed bass guitar. But if it was there, we kept it. Chuck has like a really relaxed, inviting atmosphere, and it all sort of clicked for us. We still recorded to a click and everything, but it was like a really great bass layer before everything else was added on.
Are you guys friends with a lot of the bands on the label?
Solid amount, I would say. Like at least if they're a Denver band on the label, I'm sure we either know them or we played with them, or but I guess he's getting some more national bands. But yeah, for the most part, I'd say most bands on the label we either know or are friends with, or yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So what I'd like to know is, when was the last time you were out playing?
October of 2019, or was that November?
No, November 7th of 2019.
Yep.
Did you guys venture outside of out of Denver? Did you go on like a tour?
We were planning one.
Yeah, COVID, we were really fortunate to record the full length when we did in January of 2020, and had it all mixed before all this pandemic stuff went down. So took a lot of the wind out of our sails, I think. We definitely wanted to book a tour, but it's also been really nice to spend like a good amount of time just kind of hunkering down and focusing on things too. So it's a double-edged sword, I'd say.
Yeah. And one of the things is, you have a record out and a lot of people are stuck at home, and a record's a good way to spend, listening to a record is a good way to spend your time. And I think you might have a little bit more reception as far as records, people have actually the time to sit down and listen to them.
Yep. I think that this is the most of any record I've ever like put out that has sold or has gotten attention. And I feel like people having a lot of time to listen might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
I also like to think it's good.
Oh, it is good. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it does feel like that was like a small benefit, was like the outpouring of support we got for this was like pretty incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I had so many people reach out, people I didn't know, just like well received, and it was cool that people were listening to it. It was a weird time to release a record, but there's some pluses.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Jim, you play guitar, Tyler's bass. And
On bass.
your bass. Tyler, what do you play?
Drums.
Drums. Okay. So you are a 3-piece, or are we missing somebody?
3-piece.
3-piece.
All right. That's what I thought. Because what stood out to me right away was how big the sound was for a 3-piece. And how does that translate live for you when you play?
I think pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like we do like any kind of tricks in the studio that make it so we don't sound like what we recorded. It seems like we sound pretty much how we sound. Like we sound live how pretty much how we sound in the studio, I would say. Maybe a little more energy. But,
yeah. One of
Yeah,
the
I think
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we don't put anything on the recordings that we can't pull off live. You know, if anything, like I'll add a little more texture to my guitar, maybe like just double the same track or something, but I really try to be intentional about not putting anything on there that I can't pull off live, because I think I would feel like a phony if I did that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the recording that I heard was very it was very gruff. I don't know what other word to explain it. It was just raw energy, and it was sometimes when bands record, the energy is kind of hard, but you could tell that there was somewhat of a live element due to the energy. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a really natural experience recording the record, and I think we had just like a really good time doing it. Felt like just like a fun band practice or something. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. I like recording that way. I like recording live and then kind of keeping what's good for basic guitar. I think that's like a great way to create like an organic feel. Even to a click, it's still the funnest way to record to me, because everybody's in the same room and it feels like we're playing together versus just playing to some scratch track or something that can feel pretty sterile. And I think that comes across, and yeah, it definitely helps the energy.
Yeah, I totally noticed it. It was a very big sound, but still very raw. Would you say that kind of is represented in your lyrics? I know the vocals are also very aggressive and desperate sounding.
Amen.
Jim?
You can go and then I'll go.
I prefer the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's I appreciate you saying that. I like to think that lyrically we try to put it out all on the table. We don't really like to hide anything about how we feel, and I think lyrically we just kind of want to, I don't know, talk about how we're feeling and put it out there, whether it's like gruff or aggressive or kind of like sensitive and sad. We like to put it all out there and not hide behind anything.
Yeah, and like to piggyback kind of on that, like yeah, it's at least from my standpoint, like I just pulled really hard from personal, either triumphs or traumas, or just stories that I've lived, and I just tried to be honest, I guess, and yeah, not hide anything, not not build myself up or anything like that. Just kind of put it out there. So
The personal perspective is very interesting to me when somebody writes a personal type of song about themselves, because it's very difficult to put yourself out there because you're kind of shedding off a layer and kind of revealing something about yourself. Is that part of like a cathartic writing process for you guys?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I didn't write that way, I'd kind of lose it.
Yeah.
I think writing music has always had like a kind of soothing, cathartic aspect in my life since I was like 11 collecting Megadeth CDs.
Yeah.
And so when I started writing, it was also just the cathartic process, and it's never really stopped being that.
Awesome. So where can people find you online? How can people get in touch with you? How can people buy your records?
Oh, we don't have a good online presence.
We're great in person now.
Yeah. we're not nervous and shy at all. We have an Instagram and a Facebook that people can write to us, and I'm sure we will respond. As far as records go, you can we sell most of them through Snappy Little Numbers website. But I also have boxes of records at my house if anybody in Denver wants to hit me up and buy one. But yeah, I think that's, did I miss anything on that?
Well, I mean, Zephr, Zephr, the popular band from Boulder called Zephyr. So just make sure you get the right one.
Yeah. Yeah. Google definitely prefers the others as to Spotify.
Okay, so I'll tell you something. I downloaded 2 albums from Zephyr. The first one I listened to, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like what Chuck was talking about. And it was and it didn't sound like something Chuck would put out. But I listened halfway through and I'm like, I gotta have this wrong. So I listened to the other one. I'm like, oh, okay, this is it.
Thanks for taking the extra step and checking us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a curse, but we love our band name all the same.
Yeah, it's
I think
it was very refreshing because sometimes when you go down and you look at the copyright like on iTunes or something, then it says Snappy Little Numbers, and I'm like, oh, I had the wrong one. There is a huge difference.
Yeah. Luckily, Chuck figured all that out for us too, because we would have been not sure how to put anything up anywhere, but he got it out there. So
he's a wizard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything like you guys like to say before we sign off?
Well, to check us out, you can find us on Bandcamp. I was trying to look up the URL really quick because but I guess we could like post that later or something if you want.
Oh, sure.
Also on Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify. Oh, so you're on all streaming platforms as well.
Yeah. Where's the URL here? Shoot. Anyway, well, I don't want to waste time just like reading the URL. But we are on Bandcamp and Spotify and the other stream services and Facebook. And thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You'll be hearing from us soon. We got some music coming out. So
awesome.
Hopefully
before we sign off, I do want to kind of circle back and say it always happens to me. I think about things like right before I'm gonna stop the interview, and there's kind of like a circle that kind of starts in the center with green noise, and then kind of like there's like a circle of like dirt nap and Dirk Cult and Rita and all those guys. How involved are you all with the bands that are on the in that bubble?
As far as I know, not very involved. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think the Green Noise thing came about because Chuck suggested doing a limited screen print with them, releasing it, and we were all about it, and they just knocked it out of the park. And so now we're all about those guys. They're doing amazing stuff. I just can't believe like the things that they're doing to help music out in general.
Yeah.
Let alone our like band that they kind of took a chance on. And so it's just a really cool collective of people. So we're very fortunate to be a small part of that.
Do you notice consciously that you're a part of that web?
I don't know.
I mean, you are.
I guess
you may not be directly involved, but you are connected definitely, because I wouldn't have found out about you guys otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I'm super grateful, as Tyler said, that they took a chance on us, and really happy about it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys very much for talking with me. I hope everything out in Denver is safe, and just thank you so much for the good music. I love hearing new bands, and I'm learning every day. I'm hearing a new band, especially from Snappy Little Numbers. He's got a lot of interesting things going on, and he's a workhorse. He really is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a wizard.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially like huge shout out to that State Drugs album that just came out. I know we're all listening to it like crazy. I know you just had Chris on, but
Yeah.
So,
that thing's amazing, and Chuck once again is part of that. So
Yeah, it's really really good. So I have a couple other bands I'm interviewing that are on Snappy Little Numbers, and I know they'll be good interviews just because the music has to come first. If it's a good music that I'm interested in, and it kind of just goes from there. But you're a part of a really good roster, and you're in good company, I would say.
awesome.
I
Thank
would
you.
agree.
hey, thank you, man,
Thank you.
for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.